Inmate number P01135809. Donald Trump, the first US president in history to have his mugshot taken.
What has taken place here is a travesty of justice. We did nothing wrong. I did nothing wrong.
The former president today surrendering himself to authorities in Georgia, landing shortly after 7 p.m, just to make sure it was on primetime TV.
Donald Trump to be booked on criminal charges that could put the former president of the United States in prison.
Arriving in Atlanta, touching ground there
on charges of trying to illegally overturn the 2020 presidential election in that state.
If you challenge an election, you should be able to challenge an election. I thought the election was a rigged election, a stolen election.
Between Trump and his 18 co-conspirators, there are allegations of criminal enterprise, ranging from racketeering to forgery and perjury, all in an effort to overthrow the 2020 election.
We did nothing wrong at all.
I just want to find 11,780 votes, which is one more than we have, because we won the state.
We did nothing wrong at all.
If convicted, Trump would face 5 to 20 years behind bars.
That sentence would be a lot more shocking if this was not the fourth time it's happened to him.
All trivia, nonsense, bullshit. It's all bullshit.
This fourth indictment could be the first televised trial of a former president.
I did nothing wrong, and everybody knows it. I've never had such support.
I could not come by to support my President Trump. Whatever they throw at him, it makes him stronger.
We have to have Donald Trump. It's Trump or death.
Trump today cashing in on the chaos. In his first tweet since the January 6 insurrection, the former president shared his own mugshot. He's even making it into merch.
To stand in solidarity with President Trump, I made my own mugshot with the Fulton County Jail here logo, and I changed it to my official photo on Twitter. So I encourage everyone to make your own MAGA mugshot.
So will this snap be the undoing or the making of Trump 2024?
Steve Clemens knows a thing or two about mugshots. Steve, I can't believe I'm going to ask you this. Is this an election-winning photo? Oh,
absolutely. I mean, look, this is all stagecraft. You know, not only did he put out this photo, but he's rejoined Twitter. So he's back on Twitter. His first post is this lovely picture of Donald J. Trump.
Steve, would there have been a strategy behind this photo?
Oh, absolutely. You know, I'd like to quote John Bolton, who was his national security advisor, who said Donald Trump had a choice here. He could have smiled. He could have looked benign, but he chose to look like a thug. I mean, this is his Game of Thrones shot, you know, where he's sitting on throne. I mean, I think this is the picture he wants hanging in the White House.
Does this change the narrative in politically? I mean, traditionally, America loves a winner, but he's playing the victim, right?
Well, he's been playing the victim for a long time. This is the deep state coming after him. This is a continuation of what he called the Russia hoax investigation. And he has been pitching this as political harassment from the Biden administration and the political left in the United States. And I think it's important to remember that a lot of Americans absolutely believe him. There was a recent poll done of Republican supporters of Donald Trump on who they believe in terms of truth more. Donald Trump came in at 71%. Friends and family of theirs came in at 63%. Wow. So people trust Donald Trump more than their own family.
Steve, a lot of my education comes from Hollywood, so forgive me for this, but I think mugshot, and then I think someone's going and sitting in a jail cell, but that's not happening, and it may never happen?
Probably will never happen. We don't know. We're in completely uncharted territory. I mean, there's going to eventually be a trial. But right now, every time Donald Trump appears in a court, is arrested, this mugshot, the first time in history that a United States president or former president has had a mugshot out there, his fundraising goes through the roof, and his own political support. I mean, we just had a major debate the night before last here in the United States. 8 contenders for the GOP nomination. Donald Trump didn't show up because he doesn't have to. He's literally 30 points ahead of anybody else who's trying to basically run for the GOP. So, you know, he's probably not going to end up in prison is my personal view, but we don't know. It's uncharted territory, but he's milking every moment of this.
So you mentioned that debate. He didn't take part. Instead, he did this interview with the former Fox host Tucker Carlson, and that went up on Twitter. And in that interview, Carlson asked Trump, firstly, do you think you might be assassinated? But also, do you think America is heading towards civil war? What does that say about America today, that these are live questions being put to a leading presidential candidate?
Look, to Donald Trump's credit in that interview, he did not feed it further, with the exception of lambasting his opponents. He did say these are tense times. And, I think that the bigger point is, if Tucker Carlson can ask this, what does it reflect? It reflects that we're going to see, and we're already seeing in the United States in January 6th, but we've also had political violence. Political violence is becoming part of the narrative, part of the conversation in this country. And honestly, and I mean this in a careful way, it has the smell of the 1930s, where increasingly events are happening, and Donald Trump has already said, if he ever did end up in jail, watch out. People will be out on the streets. And I think that you can, basically give dog whistles for people to take action. And we've seen a lot of pugnacious physicality from some of Donald Trump's supporters.
It happening, Steve. To be continued. Thanks so much for your time.
Hey, we'll be back.